You know, I really enjoy this somewhat blueprint of certain new rappers appearing out of nowhere with their new flick on a genre, and pretty much all of the elite music audience being really skeptical about it at first. But then slowly, or not that slowly, changing their mind, realizing those people's talents and their big creative potential. It's not happening with every single hip-hop artist, of course, but we do have some examples. And I myself can see the same scenario happening in my likings. YELLOWMAN came as a lightning bolt to the music industry. His stuff did not immediately click with me, though I do remember getting a little bit more interested in his darker production and this slackerish European flow a couple of years ago. It was definitely unique and very different in a lot of ways. At that time, he already had quite a big following, and this new wave of sad boys inspired artists feeding off his SoundCloud uploads and sold out shows. It feels wrong to me not to credit YELLOWMAN as one of the major influences on this type of sound, on this type of rap hip-hop music. I'm convinced that there's at least a glimpse of that OG sad boys vibe in Art of Corbin's Spooky Black. Some stuff Bones does. And of course one of the more frequently compared artists, Lil Peep, who tragically passed away a couple of days ago. All of those people, they add something different and quite original to this sound. Yet for me, YELLOWMAN stands out because he seemed like the first one to do it, especially in a commercial type of way, in a big, successful, worldwide phenomenon way. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's my vision of the whole situation in that field of music. He slowly got off the teenager main character mask with time. I mean, his audience got older and he gotta keep on track with it. The new album of his, Stranger, production-wise, regardless, all over the place, narrated by this pleasant female voice, sad boys watermarks, which to be honest I still find a little bit annoying, and the fact that previous collaborators, producers worked on this album. Surprisingly, this album has this super clean sound. It's probably the most polished and studio release out of YELLOWMAN yet. This helps this album a lot. In case with artists like Lean, I think this creates this tone of seriousness. Maybe that's just me, but it feels much more advanced than the previous releases. What keeps it real and classic sad boys is the lyricism. Straight in your face, direct Austrian lines about same stuff with same pop references delivered in exactly same way. Sluggish tone of a now young adult, still complaining about life and still struggling and not making any rather difficult remarks or giving away tasks or puzzles for his audience. At least that's what you get from like the first few listens. It could seem immature and blunt and even a little bit irritating for some, but this style is actually what made and still makes YELLOWMAN stand out. He's still relevant in today's super competitive post-emo SoundCloud wave. Plus, it's easier to understand him, and it does not require any additional time for you to sit and actually think about each track. It's like a direct, masses pop song. Doesn't mean though that I didn't enjoy any of the lyrics. I smile every time when he shout outs his fan base in the track Salute Pac-Man. I think that's very sweet. Some of the more personal lines on tracks, which I will get into later in this video, those are very beautiful. Those are very honest too. YELLOWMAN is the most introspective on this release for sure. He could work on his writing skills maybe a little bit more and improve it for the better, but I think eventually he can get there. I mean, he's still quite young. There's a lot more albums to come. We will have time for his lyrical genius. Or not. It still might be really good. Talking more pop songs on the album, well, there are a couple of those, I wouldn't say bangers. They have very head-stucking choruses, structure formulas, and production choices, all of which make it sound even radio friendly. Besides the chorus, I think the instrumental key change in the middle of it is a real nice move, reminded me even sonically of something that Frank Ocean might have done on his tracks. Considering they've collaborated before, I can assume that Frank could be an influence behind it. The question remains, why is it not really developed further on Stranger? I love that key change, and I feel like it really keeps up the pacing and the tone and the right mood set of the full album listening experience. Frank keeps using this trick because he knows that it works, and his albums end up sounding fantastic from start to finish. One of the main problems of Stranger is that it lacks variety and change, ending up with quite a big full play length and not enough interest. The full album feels a bit dragged and just long in general. There are some filler, absolutely forgettable tracks, like this other pop tune wannabe, Hunting My Own Skin. It unfortunately does not reach for the same effect, which ends up not that memorable, at least for me. I am a sucker for some darker sounding, menacing things, so on the album, of course, I like the SKIMASK track. The undertone of the instrumental on it is almost psychotic at times, or that SNAKESKIN Bullets track where Yeonlin goes experimental and mental. It draws a lot of attention to itself, and it's like it's unfairly short. A criminally short track makes me sad every time I listen to it. I know the vocal performance on there is, you know, it could be pretty unbearable, but I think that's the point. I see it as Lean's try on post-punk vocal delivery, maybe, since there's also visible influence from it, and I'm a fan of those kind of things. I wish they would be presenting more on the album. Another thing caught my ear is just how Scandinavian it sounds. Maybe it's the upcoming Posh Isolation showcase I'm about to attend in a couple of days. Maybe it's something else, but throughout Yeonlin's release, I keep hearing a lot of Swedish and Danish electronic pop, synth pop influences, like on the opening track, Muddy Sea, or Silver Arrows, or that ICEMAN one. And the synth coldness and tenderness adds a lot of character to the album, both making it sound like a European release and a very post-depressive one, fitting for the semi-hypebeast young adult type trying to find its place in the city jungle. A great soundtrack for this low-key suffering human beings 24/7 existence. Sometimes the album takes quite a minimal turn, which I think is also quite great. I love the Metallic Intuition track, though it reaches to something cathartic throughout all of it, and unfortunately never really gets there, or Fallen Demon, with a slight and full of hope feeling, and a lyrically harsh and sonically gentle outro. It's an interesting one. The closing track, YELLOWMAN, is an experiment full on, therefore one of the better sounding tracks. It's an epic closure with this really marching anthem feeling, before clashing to some weird chaos and then coming back to the melancholy dew effortlessly. It's a 5 minutes long crazy ride. Finally, my absolute favorite from the album, and arguably the most emotionally filled one from Yeonlin, AGONY. It's a fantastic track. This simple acoustic piano with later added simple minimal synth line, the kid choir, all creating the perfect match for Lean's raw vocal delivery and very intimate personal lyrics. This is album's saddest moment and the most beautiful moment, and I'm all here for it. Stranger might be hit and miss, but it's definitely a step forward and a good artistic growth. It's nice to see Yeonlin owning and obtaining this kind of sound and also studiolize it. He can get more complex with his rhymes and writing, but it's not something pivotal or catastrophic. There's this sense of him still kind of holding himself back a little bit as an artist, but he has a great platform and big amount of people supporting him already, and his creative choices. So I really want him to try new things and shake things up. That's what I'm actually waiting on the next release. Those are his thoughts on Younglin's new album called Stranger. What do you guys think of it? Let us know in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to like this video, to share this video, to subscribe to our channel to see more stuff from us. Hope you're feeling fine and listen to some quality, amazing music. Keep it up, and for now, that's it. Peace out.